Now we'll talk about Standard 7, responsibilities as a CFA Institute member or a CFA candidate. Let's start with Standard 7A, which deals with conduct as member and candidates in the CFA program. The standard is as follows. Candidates and members must not engage in any conduct that compromises the reputation or integrity of CFA Institute or CFA designation, or the integrity, validity or security of the CFA examinations. Now what does this cover? For us taking the CFA level 1 exam, perhaps the biggest item is any form of cheating on the exam. So if someone is caught cheating on an exam, that is a clear violation of Standard 7A. Another is disregarding rules related to exam administration. And a classic example is when it is announced that you must put down your pencils. If anybody is caught writing, then they have violated 7A. And the CFA Institute invigilator is not going to make a fuss in the exam room. They will simply write a small report and submit it to the CFA Institute. And essentially anybody caught writing once the time is over has violated 7A. Also, giving any confidential information to candidates or public. So if after the exam you talk about specific questions on the exams, or you call a friend who is in another time zone, so somebody takes the exam in Australia and then calls somebody in India and tips him off on what sorts of questions are coming, these are clear violations of Standard 7A. Now, as a clarification, expressing one's opinion is okay. So if after an exam you discuss with your friends that the exam was very difficult, or maybe even that the questions did not adequately cover the entire material that you studied, so opinions like that are okay. It's just explicit discussions about questions that came on the exam or sharing that information with friends, that's not allowed. Another important point is that information gained through volunteer activity cannot be shared. So for example, if you are volunteering in some form with the CFA Institute and you are helping prepare questions which might be considered for future exams, you cannot share those questions with the public or with anyone for that matter outside the CFA Institute. So that is something we need to be careful about. Another general point is that with the spread of online forums and so on, one has to be extra careful about not sharing any information, because anything that you say about questions online spreads very fast. So restrictions on sharing information apply not just to person-to-person conversations, but obviously also applies to any sort of online forums. Now Standard 7B, reference to CFA Institute, CFA designation and CFA program. The standard is as follows. When referring to CFA Institute, membership, designation or candidacy, do not misrepresent or exaggerate the meaning or implications of membership in CFA Institute, holding the CFA designation or candidacy in the CFA program. In simple terms, while you can just make statements of fact that you are now part of that you have cleared the CFA exam, or you are now a CFA Institute member, that's all right, but you cannot imply that you are in any way superior because you have this designation, or that the decisions that you make on investment analysis are superior or correct because you are a CFA member. Obviously there are some subtleties involved which I'll cover in the subsequent slides, but hopefully you get the general idea. So when we talk about the CFA Institute membership, we must complete and submit the professional conduct statement annually. Sometimes this is referred to as the PCS. So essentially in this statement we say on an annual basis that we have been following the code and the standards. We must pay our bills, our membership dues annually. This is both to the local chapter and the CFA institute. If we don't do this, if we don't comply, then we become inactive, or our status is changed to inactive. Use the marks Chartered Financial Analyst or CFA in a manner that does not misrepresent or exaggerate the meaning or implication of holding the CFA designation. Again, this ties to what I said earlier. So we cannot imply that we are in any way superior analysts because of this designation. Candidates may reference participation in a CFA program but do not imply achievement of any type of partial designation. So if you clear the CFA level 1, you can say that I have cleared CFA level 1 on the first attempt or the second attempt, but you cannot say I am a CFA level 1. So you cannot imply a partial designation. And it is okay to say that you passed all 3 levels on the first attempt, but do not imply superior ability. I hope you get the common theme here. It is coming over and over that you just simply state the fact and let the audience figure out whether they want to be impressed or not. You don't need to brag yourself. The Chartered Financial Analyst and CFA marks must always be used either after a charter holder's name or as adjectives, not as nouns. So a common mistake that some people make is by saying I am a CFA. So the CFA Institute does not approve of that. You can say I am John Doe and CFA, but you cannot say I am a CFA. So a subtle distinction here. I would encourage you to look at Exhibit 3, which is on page 146. So this gives several examples of what is a proper reference and what are improper references. So statements like CFA charter holders achieve better performance results, clearly not allowed. On the other hand, a statement like completion of the CFA program has enhanced my portfolio management skills, that is allowed. Now obviously there is some subtlety and judgment involved here, but I think that from an exam preparation perspective and the sort of terms that you will see in the question paper, I think this Exhibit 3 is extremely useful.